Yeah, welcome back to another Canon Flash recap, Crisis on Earth X Part 2. You ever watch something so good that it just pisses you off at how good it is? Because that's what I just watched right now. Let's just talk about a few things. Number one, Crisis on Earth X is the best team up ever. Like movies, TV show, Marvel, DC, anything. Avengers, Thor Ragnarok, Age of Ultron, Justice League, BVS, it doesn't matter. This is the best team up / crossover we have ever seen. And not just that you did it, it's how you did it. I'm not talking about, hey, we put all these people on the same screen. I'm talking about we did it with one cohesive storyline that naturally served everybody in the most fun ways. And nothing we've seen so far could compare. And, number one, that's the scale and that's the time, because yeah, okay, fine. We talk about Avengers and the MCU. Wow, we've had all these years of Marvel movies. Okay, but there's so much time in between them. With the TV shows, we see these people week in and week out for 20 plus episodes a year. And the characters that are built, the Wild Dogs, the Mr. Terrifics, the Jacks, the Dr. Steins, all these spinoff people that have been built from the Arrowverse coming together in a culmination that was absolutely magnificent. So I said it in the last episode. I said it in my Justice League review. I said it in my Avengers review, is that seeing these people come together, no matter how good or bad the movie is, it does something. Seeing interactions between characters that you haven't seen interact, it just does something that nothing else can do. And that's why these team ups and crossovers are such a big deal. And so to the magnitude of, technically 4 shows crossing over, is beyond anything. Yeah, I can't even, I'm having a hard time putting my thoughts together, but, just jumping over to, So the second thing is that this is the best and the perfect example of how to course correct. We hear that so much. I mean, so much. We're talking about, DC movies are too dark, changing it to Justice League, or having Suicide Squad be changed around because BVS was too dark and didn't make money. We hear Thor was this and that, and so the third Thor they make, Ragnarok, was completely funny. We hear all these course corrections, even small course corrections like Logan. The Wolverine movies didn't hit well. They were too big. Let's just tone it down and get to the root cause of it. And so we hear course correction all the time. What fans didn't like and the studios trying to change it. There has never been a course correction like this one. It's perfect. This is how you do it. This is listening to not just what the fans say, but the essence of the problems that all the fans had, and really looking at how do we not only bring the solution to next year's crossover, but do it in a natural way that's not forced. The best thing you can say about Crisis on Earth X is that they did not force things, for the most part, that didn't need to be there. And so if any studio, if any business in the entertainment is looking at course correction, this is the history lesson. This needs to go in the history books. This is going to the straight heart of what your characters is, what your property is, and making a beautiful product for the fans. And so let's get into some of the Easter eggs, all the fun. You had Mr. Terrific on the Wave Rider. Oh, it's so many things. Like Win. Let's talk about Win for a second. I don't watch Supergirl anymore. I did watch the first 2 seasons, or 2.5 or 1.5, whatever. I know Win. I know his character, and he's kind of like a Cisco, but they had him play Oppo in Earth X, which you got a little bit of Earth 2 vibes, where these actors kind of got to play a different type of version of the character and have fun with it, which I thought the genius part was picking characters that works for. Snart is dead, so bringing him. Having smaller characters like Wynn and Detective Lance that aren't going to really affect the story and can't be fighters. They affect the story in a different way by being doppelgangers. So I thought that was genius. But out of everybody, and Lance was great. Lance was powerful. But Wynn was amazing. I don't know who that actor is, but I just had a whole new level of respect for him because I've seen him play the complete opposite before, and I had no idea he can bring it like that. So that was great. But then all the fun Easter eggs. Supergirl with the Superman references from the Christopher Reeve Superman's General. Would you like to step outside? Are you serious? And then having Killer Frost kind of ice glide the girls up to the ship where they start handling business. That's the ladies' night out I wanted to see. Skip Iris and Felicity. I wanted to see Killer Frost with some people that could hold their own. So her and the two totem bearers, that was raw. The whole, I still don't know this dude's name, but the dude that turns into steel, talking about the man of steel had to catch the girl of steel, whatever. That was stupid. But, Supergirl kind of slow falling back to Earth, straight nod to Zack Snyder and Batman v Superman. Like, there was so much in here, and this brought out the emotions that only a crossover could, because at one point we got Supergirl fighting Overgirl, we got the Arrows fighting, and then you got the two Flashes running around town, making it look kind of like the Flashpoint Paradox when they fought. And it had a great opening, because I remember it was Wild Dog. He kind of like threw a grenade pin or whatever, and then everybody was stopped. I'm like, why is everybody frozen? Wild Dog don't have no powers. And then out of nowhere, you see the Flashes coming. They're fighting at a whole different level of speed than everybody. Amazing. The Atom on the T-Sphere. Are you serious? So I'm going to go ahead and call it. That's a straight, not rip off, but I would say a nod to Captain America Civil War with Ant-Man on what's that guy's name? Hawkeye's arrow. Now, if they would have did Green Arrow shooting the Atom, that would have been a straight rip off. But I thought it was a nice little nod. The T-Sphere with Atom. The crossovers was bananas. It was absolutely, like, we didn't have a lot of time to see it, but it was bananas. I found myself really missing Ray. And so the whole time, this whole crossover, I'm like, where's Ray? Not only because he makes the most sense because he knows Felicity and Oliver and Barry and all that, but I don't know. I just love Brandon Routh, and I'm just like, out of everybody that hasn't shown up, where's Ray? But eventually in the last episode, we get everybody. They show up. The cavalry comes. The legends show up. We already got Team Arrow there, everything. And then you tie it with a beautiful bow. Cause I'm like, where's Diggle? I'm like, I bet you they're going to play it off like, hey, this is the point where he's no longer fighting because of his whole injury, which they did. But it was nice that they showed it, because instead of just having it unsaid, I'm glad they said, hey, we didn't forget about him. But not only that, they took it to the next level. Barry runs and gets him, and he throws up, because as soon as Barry got him, I'm like, he's going to throw up. That's the classic staple to the crossover. Diggle has to throw up when Barry runs fast. So, oh my God. There's so much to say about it. And I thought it was great. I mean, everything. There's some issues I have, but overall, I just have to say how amazing this crossover was. Now, as far as my few issues, the actor that plays Jax, I never thought was a good actor. He has some presence about him, but his acting chops are so bad to me. And this episode, or the last episode, it was painful to watch. So they do this whole thing where Stein dies, which is kind of like the big crux of the second half. And I get it. We all know that the actor's leaving. And them choosing to kill him instead of having them separate was bold. But when it comes time for, it to happen, I felt nothing because this actor is terrible. He was so bad. And taking it back to the first episode, I never bought this whole "you're my dad" thing, and I didn't bring it up in the last one. I never bought that. It hasn't been earned. They've been the odd couple this whole time, and that's what they're supposed to do. But it's just like somebody grew up without a father, and somebody that's so opposite of Stein. Like, that's not something he ever would have said. That's kind of one of those unspoken things that never go that way. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't feel that way, but he would have never came out and said it. And then after that, Stein just, "Oh, you're my son," like every other sentence for the rest of the crossover. I'm like, this is weird, because that's not been y'all dynamic this whole time. And so, especially if y'all got a psychic connection, you would have kind of known. But anyway, it's just like, it was out of left field for me. It was out of left field. And the actor that plays Jax really ruined it. And I didn't feel anything when that happened. And then to that end, another thing out of left field, like I said last time, Felicity saying she didn't want to get married, not really explaining why. And then at the end, all of a sudden she wants to get married. Okay. That was weird. And then get Iris out. She's not the captain. I have to say that every episode. But the thing that really got me, like, I love this. This is 100%, both episodes. The whole thing's 100%. Don't get me wrong. But the thing that took me out for a moment, and I really just can't get over, is when they slow Barry down. In the third episode, Barry literally takes like 2 seconds. He's like, "Let me go check the perimeter of the facility." Not even 2 seconds. It's less than a second, and he's back. But then when he's chasing the red tornado, which was another great use of a character, by the way. But when he's chasing the red tornado, and he has to run back to the site so they can go, it takes forever. He's moving as fast as the Ray, and we don't know much about him and what he can do, but it's just like, I hate when they slow Barry down for convenience. The Flash TV show has had a problem with that, and I think this year they've been really good with it, but the crossover, once again, brings the convenience to it where we had to slow Barry down. So I didn't like that. And Eobard Thawne leaving it, I didn't like that. Yes, you might not have killed him, but you would have put him in jail or something. And even if you were like, okay, just go, why did he just go? Why did he start killing people? And then of course he says, "We'll see what face I'm wearing next time." So now they're making Reverse Flash a villain again. And you know what? I don't like the way they went about it, but I'm not mad at the idea, because you kind of blew your proverbial load having Reverse Flash start out as your first season villain, because he's the Flash's greatest villain. He's the reverse of him. And so I always wondered, was it a smart move to get rid of him so early? So now that he's back out there, I actually do like that. So, but anyway, 100% across the board. This was beyond amazing. So go to the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the Crisis on Earth X crossover, man. Was this mind blowing to you like it was to me? Thumbs up, subscribing if you heard of his official canon.